This is an earth box. It cost about $50. This is a homemade earth box. It cost about $6. Today we're going to find out how to make one of these using a box and some PVC pipe. Okay, you're probably asking, how do I cut the lid where it's exactly the right size? I mean, you don't want to screw that up right out of the box. Here's how you do it. You cheat. All right, you get your lid. Here's your lid. You make a cardboard template, a pattern, if you will, and it's a lot easier to cut cardboard. You can kind of just make sure it's the right size. You put it in there, get it close, it's not right, you cut it with scissors until it's exactly the right size. It's easy to do. It's a whole lot easier cutting cardboard than it is plastic. All right, you lay your plastic down on top of there, and sure enough, it's exactly the right size, or it will be. And then you draw your lines around there. Okay, so what I've done is I've used my template to make an impression here on the lid. What I need to do now is cut out the lid, and to do that I take my handy dandy drill. Oh wait, first, ear protection, eye protection, and a little protection for my hand. I know it seems like it's overkill, but if you've ever spent any time at all in an emergency room, if you can spare yourself having to go there just once using these forms of protection, you're worlds ahead. Okay, first thing we'll do is, somewhere along here, I've got a little stump underneath there, somewhere here I'm going to drill a hole just to get things started. See, aren't I glad I'm wearing my glove? Okay, we've got a hole started. Next, we're going to use my saber saw here. Okay, I finished cutting the lid. Let's see how it fits inside the box. Pretty good. So, we'll go with that. If it doesn't fit exactly right, you can always trim it down. Next, we need to make a little grid on here so I'll know exactly where to drill my holes for the bottom. And that goes pretty fast. All you need is a straight edge, a pencil, and a rough idea of where you want the holes to go. What I'm doing here is I'm just making a grid. Yeah, that ought to do it. Okay. And where the lines intersect, that's where I'll drill my holes. I'm using a 3/8 inch bit on this drill. Let me go ahead and put my glove on again. All right. Remember, all it takes is one trip to the emergency room, and we'll drill all of our holes. Okay, I finished drilling my holes. That didn't take long at all. It's really easy to go through the plastic using a drill. Okay, we'll move everything out of the way. What I need to do now is measure and then cut lengths of the PVC pipe. Remember, I want 2.5 inch little pieces of PVC, and I'll need about 18 of them. So what I'll do is I'll take this piece of PVC pipe, I've got a yardstick here essentially, and I'll measure it off every 2.5 inches. There's 2.5, there's 5, there's 7.5, there's 10. Okay, we finished cutting all of our 2.5 inch sections of PVC pipe. These will provide support for the bottom plate, which we've already cut holes in. Another thing I've got to do now is we've got to make a hole here for the fill tube, and that's pretty easy to do. We'll just put this right here, make a little outline of this puppy, like so. We'll want to do the same thing for the lid. So we'll cut a section about like that. All right, we've drilled a little indentation here for the fill tube. We cut out a little section here on the top, and amazingly, everything fits. The only thing left to do is we need to drill a little hole, a 3/8 inch hole, right here, just below the level of the bottom plate. This will allow that'll allow any any extra water to flow out of the box. And we are just about done. All right, essentially we've finished the EarthBox. It's a nice little unit. Is it as durable as the factory-built EarthBox? No, I don't think it is. I don't think the plastic's as good. You'd want to paint this a dark color, green or black. That'll help it to retain heat, and it'll keep the roots from getting confused. One other thing, there have been some complaints from folks saying that once you fill this with potting soil and fill it with water, it's too heavy to move around. Something you might consider is a little mover's dolly. I got this for $10 from Harbor Freight. And one final note. Some people feel that PVC, polyvinyl chloride, is not safe for people, that it leaches organic compounds into the water and could be absorbed by the plants that you might be eating. If you feel that's a valid concern, there's a few things you can do. Instead of using the PVC inserts down here, the 2.5-inch things, you could use little vitamin bottles. You could use little glass bottles if you wanted to, as far as the fill tube, or indeed even the 2.5-inch pieces of PVC. They could be replaced with black irrigation pipe, which is less of a concern as far as it leaching out organic compounds into the water. So you've got yourself a homemade EarthBox. It cost you about $6 total.